And welcome back to FreightWaves Now on this Friday morning. It is Friday, which means that it is time to check in with our lead economist, Chief Economist Anthony Smith. Let's toss it over to him for this week's edition of Economy Lately, but we're doing it live.
No, I'm not doing it.
Anthony, you have to.
You can't make me.
You have to.
Yeah, I'm not doing it.
We're live right now.
This is Anthony Smith, this is the Economy Lately, and let's get into some of the news. And usually we do this recorded, but like Kaylee said, we're doing it Thomas Watson style. That's right, we're doing it live. And we're talking about the upcoming or the recent economic news that just happened, and this week was all about those jobs. We're talking about unemployment rate. We have the ADP, did I say wait? Like a little toddler? Anyway, we have the unemployment rate, we have the ADP employment report that got put out, we have the initial jobs claims, which is still holding strong. We have job openings and so much more. So let's get into it. And the remaining, how much time do we have left? 5 more minutes. Let's get into it. So starting it off with unemployment rate was just hovering around 3.6%. So still staying strong here. Some of the details within the unemployment rate here, we have to look at it because there's our participation rate, which is starting to tick back up, nice but steadily. So when we're looking at the participation rate, that kind of shows the composition of the unemployment or the employment or the labor or the job markets. Anyway, we're looking at the job market is showing that participation rate is increasing, but the composition is a little bit different, unfortunately. So for example, when we're looking at female workers in the workforce, that's unfortunately down a bit since the pandemic has started. We're also seeing fewer baby boomers as well. So that's gonna be a huge brain drain that all my fellow baby boomers are opting to retire a little bit early because we're looking at those industry professionals that have had decades of experience that are in a particular field that are no longer going to be here. We're looking at job openings, ladies and gentlemen, they're up and they're stuck. And it's a little bit concerning. So when we're looking at job openings, yeah, that's right, I said it. I said it, Sydney. So we're looking at job openings. Like I said, they're up and they're stuck, especially with quit rates. We're gonna get into quits as well. So job openings was revised last week, or last month I should say, up 11.9 million in March, which sounds absolutely insane. That's just over 2 jobs, I believe, for each available person to work those jobs. And that's a whole interesting aspect. And I'm starting to wonder, putting on my non-tinfoil hat here, maybe it is tinfoil, are these actual openings or are companies just keeping them listed open and really starting to get kind of a little bit more selective with what they're gonna really kind of pick and choose from with their actual applicants? But that's gonna be a whole nother episode for a whole nother thing as I dive into that episode here. But the job openings and the quit rate is gonna be something to watch closely because as I said in previous episodes of the Economy Lately, it's really the last stronghold of the economy. When you're thinking about the US economy, it's built off of consumers and consumers like to buy stuff, especially here in the US, and they're gonna keep buying stuff as long as they can keep paying for stuff, and they can't keep paying for stuff if they don't have a job. I'll take that back. They'll keep buying stuff even if they can't pay for that stuff because it was put on the credit card or buy now, pay later programs, which are going to start to kind of hit at the latter half of the year. As we're looking at credit card utilization, that is starting to pick back up. That's going to get updated again next week, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be awful, and I'm looking forward to it in a weird, sick kind of way. We're looking at the ISM PMI that also got updated, showed that they're continuing expansion in the manufacturing segment. Construction spending also got upgraded, but the big focus this week has been around jobs. And when we're looking at the quit rate, as I mentioned, that's still very much high at 4.4%. That's showing that consumers are opting to take advantage of those options. Like you, sitting there on your Bumble account, you got a whole bunch of matches, just swiping away, not saying anything. You got options. You can do that. The ball is in your court. That's not going to be the case, I don't think, as we get into 2023. I think some of this is going to start to flip, and we got to watch those quit rates very closely. I think the Federal Reserve is also watching it closely. When we look at Jerome Powell and all those folks up there, they're watching the quit rate because that's a sense of consumer confidence. Even though we have consumer sentiment and consumer confidence indexes that are very much meaningful and have a lot of, I think, real-world application, actions speak louder than words. So I can say, I don't feel very confident about the economy, I don't like what's going on, but if I'm feeling confident enough to say I'm gonna go out into the world and just take my chances at a new job, that's showing some type of confidence. And America is still showing that type of confidence. And in fact, I believe the average tenure is starting to shorten as we look throughout the different segments of the economy overall. So you might have a friend that over the last 2 years has had maybe 2 or 3 jobs just because they can do that. So that might not be the case as we continue to move forward throughout the remainder of the second half of 2022 or get into 2023. So if you're looking for a recession, you're looking for a downturn, you want to know what indicator to watch those jobs, watch the job openings, watch the quit rate, watch to see how consumers are starting to act around this entire segment. When we're looking at other things like construction activity, a lot of folks are getting a little bit concerned that new home sales started to drop off, but that was expected. We had a pretty substantial pull forward in home sales and construction activity because people were anticipating that there's going to be an increase in mortgage rates moving forward. I know my man Tony over there has been trying to buy a house, but we have banks over here and institutions and investors really buying 15% above asking and stuff like that. Tony, is that right? It's been awful out there. That's why I'm renting my apartment. And rent's going up too. It's too high. It's a little bit of a throwback to, what was that, mid-2000s? I don't know. Anyway. We need to get Fraser out here. But this has been the economy lately. Coming up next week, we're going to be looking at, is my iPad dead? Whatever. I know what we're looking forward to next week. We're going to be looking at consumer credit. We're going to look at initial jobs claims. We're going to look at wholesale inventories. Inventory is going to be another one to watch closely because a lot of these presidents, CEOs, executives are saying, hey, we're building up inventories on purpose. And I'm just here to say, are you though? Anyway, this has been the economy lately. Kaylee, back to you.
Nothing better than doing it live with Anthony Smith. And you know what? He's one of our market experts. Not only is he chief economist, and if you have a question for him that you would like to see answered, send it over to us. Use the hashtag FWMailbag on any of our social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. You know what? Maybe find Anthony on Bumble and ask him a question if that's what you really want to do. We'll see him for our experts using FW Mailbag Wednesday of next week. Right now, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in just a few minutes.